These are men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, are brave men of the Green Beret. Silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 with the Green Beret. Think to live off nature's land, trained in combat, hand to hand, men who fight by night and day, the brave men of the Green Beret. Silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 in the Green Beret. Back at home, my young wife waits. Her Green Beret has met his fate. He has died for those oppressed, leaving her his last request. And silver wings on my son's chest, make him one of America's best. He'll be a man, we'll test one day, have him win the Green Beret. I know, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be get going in just a few moments, but you know, there's a song that came from a war that was never popular, and my friend Johnny McDermott made this very famous because he was given this song by a lieutenant from the Vietnam War who could never bring himself to go down to the great memorial in our nation's capital that was erected for his comrades. One day his brother says, "Come on, let's go." So they go down to Washington, D.C., and they look upon this monument, and he is so moved by everything that he sees, he writes this song. I think it's only appropriate that we offer this today, and it's called "The Wall." On a drizzly D.C. morning in the middle of July, a brother took me downtown to the mall, past the watchful eyes of Lincoln, meet the weeping summer skies, cross the streets to the little green and visited the wall. I remember I was nervous then, I guess a little scared, 'cause I wasn't sure how I'd react at all. To see the names of the servicemen been recorded there, heard the final roll call and assembled at the wall. And every name's a father, or a husband, or a son, or a daughter, or a brother, or a cousin to someone. Or a name might be a classmate, or a friend you may recall. There's nearly 60,000 fallen names waiting at the wall. The wall is many granite sections, solid, cool, and black. A visitor may pause to touch a name. It just seems that in the dark reflection the hands are reaching back, as if to greet and touch and hold the hands of those who came. Someone might stoop to leave a rose, a letter or a poem, a message to a young man loved and lost, and to show they still remember those who never made it home, who built the walls so long and tall and paid the bitter cost. And every name's a father, or a husband, or a son, or a daughter, or a brother, or a cousin to someone, or a name might be a classmate, or a friend you may recall. There's only 60,000 fallen names waiting at the wall. As I watched the lines of people who walked by in slow parade, I read a different story in each face, and I couldn't help but wonder at the pilgrimage we'd made. What common bond, if any, might have brought us to this place? There were toasts and the curious, and some veterans who came, still others who sought an answer to it all. But the only thing I'm sure of is we left not quite the same, with our memories alive and well and waiting at the wall. And every name's a father, or a husband, or a son, or a daughter, or a brother, or a cousin to someone, or a name might be a classmate, or a friend you may recall. There's nearly 60,000 fallen names waiting at the wall. There's nearly 60,000 fallen names still waiting at the wall.
Good morning. Welcome to the dedication ceremony for the Merrimac Veterans Memorial. My name is Ben Bolia. Thank you for joining us as we honor the veterans, we bless them, their families, and their friends. Thank you to the Merrimac Veterans Memorial for their tireless efforts in 2016 to make this memorial possible. We have a wonderful ceremony planned today, and at this time, for those physically able, I ask that you please stand through the placing of the wreath. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call up Rick Pinciero for the invocation.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today, celebrate this. Awesome. I'm a little choked up, I'm sorry. Dedication to our men and women who have served and who are serving. Please remove your hats. On this day, we call to mind those who gave their lives that our nation might live. Alas, that its preservation should have entailed the loss of so much treasure, should have brought so much suffering, should have demanded so many young and promising young lives. The only fitting memorial to those sacrifices is our self-dedication to the task of abolishing all inner strife, hatred, and bitterness from among us. Creator God, in a spirit of community, we pause to remember lives lost and lives forever changed in war. May we also remember your great love for us, and that there is no greater demonstration of love than to lay down one's life for another. Grant that our reflections today honor those who made that choice, as well as the many more willing to do so if called upon. To honor their legacy, we commit ourselves to be more vigilant in our love for others, for our nation, and the cause of freedom, justice, and peace throughout the world. May the remembrance of the price we paid for our life as a nation impel us to seek justice, to foster freedom, and to pursue the ways of peace. May our nation be a source of blessing to all its people and to the rest of humankind. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Please remain standing as the wreath created by the Merrimac Garden Club is placed by members of the Merrimac Police Department.
Detail, attention! Parade, rest!
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. You know, one of the most beloved of all patriotic songs comes right from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I always tell the story about the young lady who wrote it because she was one of the first literary professors at the great Wellesley College. She traveled this great nation. She made it all the way out to the Rocky Mountains, to Pikes Peak. And in 1893, you know, she climbed Pikes Peak while she was seated on the back of a mule. She got on top of this mountain. She looks back over this nation. She is so moved by everything that she sees, she writes a poem. That poem is put to music. It is so beloved. Many people think that this song should actually be our national anthem. Now, if you go down to Falmouth, Massachusetts on Cape Cod, right in front of the public library, there's a beautiful statue of this young lady in her honor. Her name, Catherine Lee Bates, and she wrote America the Beautiful. Please join me. Spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful, for heroes brute in liberating strife, who more than self their country love. More than life. Come on. America, America, this time I'm going to tell you a little story that was done by the great Johnny Cash as Commander Roger Clark puts our national colors in position, and it'll be followed immediately by our national anthem and then the firing party from your Merrimac Police Department.
Detail, attention! Recent out!
You know, I walked across a county courthouse square. On a park bench, I saw an old man, and he was sitting there. I said, "Yo, courthouse, kind of run down." He said, "Nah, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Yo, flagpole, let's lean a little bit." "And that's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." And I sat down. He said, "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "Well, we don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, we got a hole in that flag over there when Washington took it across the Delaware. And you know she got powder burned the night that Francis Scott Key sat watching her writing? Oh, say, can you see? She got a big rip in New Orleans with Pakenham and Jackson tugging at her seams, and she almost fell at the Alamo. She had that Texas flag, but they waved on no. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville, and she got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg. And that south wind, she blew hard on our ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II, and she hung limp and low a time or two. She was in Korea, Vietnam, and now Afghanistan. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved on our ships upon the briny foam, and now you know they've almost done quit waving back here at home. In her own good land here, she has been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused. And the government for which she stands is sometimes scandalized throughout the land. She's been getting threadbare, and she's wearing thin. But she's in good shape for the shape she's in. 'Cause she's been through the fire before, and I believe that she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, and we lower her down slow every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her up just right. You know, on second thought, I do like to brag, 'cause I know we're all mighty proud of our ragged old flag. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the United States of America, our Star-Spangled Banner. Huh. Oh, say, can't you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched, oh, so gallantly streaming, and the rockets had red glare, the bombs bursting in there, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Pigtail, ready! Aim! Fire! Ready! Aim! Fire! Ready! Aim! Fire! Ready! Reset! Up! Order! Up! Parade! Rest!
Please be seated at this time. Thank you to the Merrimac Police Department, Commander Roger Clark and Sergeant Clark. At this point, I have State Representative Lenny Mira come to share a few words.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out to this wonderful event, and thank you to everyone who put it together. This is truly a magnificent monument to our veterans. Thank you. Let's hear it for them. It's quite an event. You know, dedication and devotion that goes into an event like this is truly inspiring, and I'm sure we're all proud to live in a state and a country that honors its heroes in such an honorable way. And you know, especially now, at a time when our nation may seem hopelessly divided, you know, I'm happy to report that just last week, you know, the House voted on a couple of bills that I think brought us together in a way. You know, the first bill was filed by Representative James Arcero of Westville that'll expand access to mental health care for veterans in higher education. It'll create a continuing education program to train counselors on the symptoms of conditions like post-traumatic stress syndrome, something that is very much needed these days. The second bill filed by our friend Linda Dean Campbell of Methuen and David Vera of Falmouth, that establishes a commission to design a memorial at the State House for Deborah Sampson, a hero of the American Revolution. She disguised herself as a man in order to serve in the Continental Army. And I'm proud to say both those bills passed unanimously. This is part of a promise that we've made to the men and women who serve. You know, when they swore an oath to support and defend the constitutions of the United States against all enemies, they made a commitment to all of us. And at the same time, we, as a nation, incurred a sacred obligation to them upon their return home to heal their wounds, to rebuild their lives, and to care for their survivors. As President Lincoln said so eloquently over 150 years ago, our nation has a sacred obligation to, as he put it, care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow, and his orphan. Those words, in fact, are inscribed on the entrance above the Department of Veterans Affairs in our nation's capital. And they are spoken at almost every Veterans Day, Memorial Day. Finally, we can take a lot of pride as we remember the words of President John F. Kennedy, who proclaimed, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and success of liberty." And so to the brave men and women serving today and to their families, I want to say thank you for your service and your sacrifices. A grateful nation honors and remembers you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Mira. Please welcome State Senator Diana Zagudo.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is a good morning, isn't it? We're all here to celebrate our heroes, many of you who sit here with us today. What an honor and a privilege to be standing here at this beautiful memorial. I want to, on behalf of the State Senate, take this as an opportunity to say thank you to all of the volunteers, all of the advocates, and all of the community members who worked so hard to make this beautiful memorial possible today. I was walking around and looking at the names on the bricks here and just thinking about the service and the sacrifice of so many people just here in this small town. And it seems today, looking out right now, that the whole town of Merrimac is here right now. But I do just want to ask very briefly if we could give a resounding applause to those who made this memorial possible, please. And just to echo what my colleague, State Representative Mira said, thank you for your service. I remember when I was a young child, my Uncle Joe DeZoglio, who was a World War II veteran, and my grandfather, my papu, I have a Greek side, he was a Korean War veteran. They taught me when I was just a young child that what you do when you see a veteran is you go up to them, you extend your hand, you look them in the eye, and you shake their hand and you say, thank you for your service. And I'll never forget that. It has followed me into my work in the community. It has followed me into my work in the state legislature. We continue to say thank you for your service. It's something that we need to continue to teach our children and our communities. We take a lot of time nowadays on social media and on the internet, and we post sayings and poems and photos and videos, and that's all wonderful. And that's a great way to demonstrate our gratitude towards those who have served. But there's nothing quite like looking somebody in the eye and extending a hand or extending a hug or some symbol of our affection and gratitude to that individual for their putting their lives on the line for us, like that look in the eye and like that handshake. So I'm going to challenge all of us this week to find a veteran, to maybe just here today after this service, and to extend that hand and to extend that eye contact and to tell them thank you for your service. It's the least that we can do, right? So we do say thank you. We are going to continue in the state Senate to work on legislative priorities that will help and assist all of our veterans. I know that Representative Mira brought up the issue of mental health, PTSD. We know that those killed in the line of duty today is actually less than those who commit suicide. That the rate of those killed in the line of duty is actually less than those who commit suicide today. So we put all of our resources into our servicemen and women when we send them off, but then when we come home, we need to remember that it's our responsibility to care for them once they come home and to provide the services that they need to be able to reintegrate into our communities, to be able to have educational opportunities, job opportunities, mental health services, and to make sure that we are all a welcoming community. Now, we as legislators can create laws and work on funding priorities to make sure that our veterans, our servicemen and women are taken care of, but we can't legislate and create a law that will make communities do what all of you have come here to do today. That's why I am so grateful to have the humble honor of representing a community that gets it, that understands. Merrimac gets it. You understand that we honor those who have served, that we take the time to come out, we celebrate, we love one another, we take care of one another, and you are truly an example to the rest of the Merrimac Valley and to the Commonwealth. So I just want to once again express my sincerest thanks to the committee and to the community members who made this beautiful memorial possible. We will never forget your service and your sacrifice. We say once again a thank you to those who have served, and thank you to all of the community members who made this day possible. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for your commitment to the memory of all of our local heroes. We honor you.
Thank you, Senator DeZoglia. Please welcome Veterans Agent Jeremiah Murphy to share a few words.
Good morning. It's great to see a crowd out like this for Veterans Day. You know, we don't often see the crowds. There's parades, you see empty streets, so seeing a crowd like this makes a veteran feel good. I have the honor of serving as your Veteran Service Officer, and I thank you for that honor. Veteran Services is a municipal office here to serve your community's veterans and their families, as well as be a voice for veterans in the community. I have had the honor of being your Veteran Service Officer for a little over a year. As a veteran before this, I really thought I understood the issues facing a lot of veterans. But, you know, this last year has really opened my eyes. I see veterans from World War II and Korea that suffered through those wars, came home with scars of wars that back then which went largely untreated. A lot of the veterans I see now are from the Vietnam era, who have suffered more than any generation. The conditions of that war, the lack of a welcome home they received, and the continued loss of veterans from that war due to a family of chemicals known as Agent Orange, blue, green, pink, and others. There were over 58,000 service members killed in Vietnam, yet the deaths that are attributed to Agent Orange are believed to be over 300,000. And those numbers are increasing. Our office is regularly assisting Vietnam veterans from your community suffering from cancers, diabetes, heart disease, Parkinson's disease, which we now know are all related to these chemical exposures. Unfortunately, even today's veterans of the Gulf War and the war on terrorism will suffer from long-term effects from the oil field fires, the Gulf War illness, and the burn pits, as well as the other physical and mental effects of war. But today on Veterans Day, your community has taken the time and effort to erect what we are now dedicating a beautiful monument to all who have served, with special reverence to those who have fallen. But I can tell you, not just today, but every day your community is here for other veterans. One of my first encounters as a new employee, town of Merrimac, was going into your town accountant's office. And I knew I was in trouble when I saw that Marine Corps emblem on her cell phone case. She's tough, but she's fair. And she does a lot to make sure veterans are taken care of in this town. It's not only, you know, Annie, but it's your town clerk, Gwen, who asked me, what can I do for veterans? How can I get the word out to veterans to help them? It's not only Gwen, but your fire chief, who sat down with me and said, you know, these are the issues that I see on behalf of my department as a first responder dealing with veterans. How can we help them more? You know, but it doesn't stop there. You know, it's throughout your town, your state rep, your state senator, who regularly are involved with veterans issues, and they're always there willing to help, as well as with Senator Moulton's office, Representative Moulton's office. So, let me just see. But I almost state this in, we must all as a community continue to fulfill the pledge to our veterans through the family, which is attributed to President Lincoln, Representative Mira, to care for those who have borne the battle and for their widow and their orphan. Today, Merrimac has shown again it has continued to honor that pledge. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to have Sergeant Clark back up for a medley of songs from the different service branches.
Detail, attention!
It is an incredible honor to be here today with you. And your representatives are being way too humble, and your veteran service officer, because you probably do not realize that under the direction of our state veterans officer, Francisco Urena, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts provides the most benefits to her veterans more than any other state in the Union. Thank you to your representatives and veteran service officers. And in addition, this is very personal to me because I used to wear a uniform like that. And many of our men and women who stand on our line and also are our first responders and in your ambulance and fire department, they are not only serving you, but many of them were veterans also. My daughter, she's in one of those ambulances saving people every day, and our son is a midshipman at the United States Naval Academy. So this is no joke for me. Thank you for inviting me today. Now, as a United States Marine, you know my hymn, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of... Oh, come on. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of... Oh, yeah. If you serve the United States Army, you may know your hymn to be Caissons Go Rolling. Yes, they changed the word just a little bit. It's now called Army First to Fight, but the tune Caisson's still the same. If you serve the iconic United States Navy, your hymn has always been Anchors! Oh yeah, if you serve the United States Air Force or Army Air Corps, your hymn, Wild Blue. Outstanding. You guys are outstanding. Now, in addition, there's a group of men and women who not only guard our shores, but they're deployed in combat venues all over the world. Their hymn, Semper Paratus. I'm talking about the Coast Guard. And finally, there is a group that was long forgotten. Because you see, they were pressed into service to take our boys overseas. Supplies, boots, bullets, bandages. And many times they were sunk by enemy submarines right off the coast of the United States of America. I heard somebody say it. Who said it right here? Who barked it out? Tell everybody who we're talking about.
Merchant Marine.
That's well. And the Merchant Marines also have their own hymn. It's called Heave Ho, My Lads, Heave Ho. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would respectfully request, when I sing your hymn, if you have served, if you've had a family member who has served, if you've been married to a serviceman or servicewoman, do me a favor. If you can't stand up, I understand. But when I sing your hymn, at least put your paw in the air so I can properly recognize you, okay? The order of hymns is going to be Merchant Marines, the Coast Guard, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and then the United States Marine Corps. You guys ready? I'll take a sir, yes, sir. Ready? Here we go. Do I have any Merchant Marines on deck? Any Merchant Marines? Heave ho, my lads, heave ho. It's a long, long way to go. It's a long, long pull with the hatches full, braving the wind, braving the sea, fighting a treacherous foe. Heave ho, my lads, heave ho. Though the seas blow high and low, we can cross any ocean, sail any river, give us those goods and we'll deliver. The submarines, we're the men of the Merchant Marines. Any Coast Guardsmen? Where's my Coast Guard? Come on, where are you? Outstanding. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in thee. Through howling gale and shot and shell, who in a hot victory. Semper Paratus is our guide, our pledge and motto too. We're always ready, do or die. Our Coast Guard, we fight for you, Army. First to fight for the right and to build a nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. About of all we have done, fight until the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. But it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Call up your cadence down and strong. Oh, wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Navy! Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college joys, we sail at break of day. Oh, our last night on shore, dream to the fall. Until we meet once more, please wish you a happy voyage home. Air Force, off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high into the sun. Oh, down we dive, spread our flames from under, at the north, give the guard. Off we go, soon to meet our thunder, up in one hell of a roar. We live in fame, or down in flame, up the U.S. Air Force. All right, Marines, where are you? Huh? From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battle in the air, horns and land and the sea. Others to fight for right and freedom and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Hurrah! Now I have a question. Do I have any CBs on deck? Do I have any CBs on deck? If you're a CB, raise your hand up. Where are my CBs? Okay, when I get done my military medley, if there's a CB in the crowd, they will come up to me and they'll say, "Son, you didn't sing my song." I said, "I'm so sorry." What? He says, "I'm a CB." "Oh, Navy Seabees, anchors away." No, no, no. We have our own song, you learn it. Yes, sir. So went out, sure enough, I found out the CBs, very proud group, they have their own song. And it was performed many, many years ago, back in the early 1940s, and the very first person to perform the Song of the Seabees was none other than Judy Garland. Once again, where are my Seabees? And this is your song. Yes, sir, here it is, the Song of the Seabees. Come on up here, come on up. Ah. Where the Seabees are the Navy, the Kendall man in green. In the war and peace you'll find us ready on the scene. And no matter what the mission, with our past we'll keep tradition. Where the Seabees are the Navy, the bees of the seven seas. The Navy wanted men, that's where we came in. Mr. Brown, Mr. Jones, the Owens, the Cohens, the Flynn. The Navy wanted more of Uncle Sammy's kin, so we all joined up and the brother were in it to win. Where the Seabees are the Navy, the Kendall man in green. In the war and peace you'll find us ready on the scene. And no matter what the mission, with our past we'll keep tradition. Where the Seabees are the Navy, the bees of the seven seas, the bees of the seven seas. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Sergeant Clark. I'd like to have Kelly Bovio, the Regional Director for Representative Seth Moulton, come up at this time. Share a few words with us.
Good morning, everyone. So the Congressman's really sorry he couldn't be here today. He does hope to get up to Merrimac soon, and I know he's going to be so impressed with this beautiful monument that we're seeing here for the first time today. I did want to read a letter that he'd written and wanted me to read to all of you. To all those here today, I regret that I cannot be with you for such an important day. I do my best to attend as many events like this as possible in our community, but I regret that I can't make it to every one. Veterans signed a blank check payable with their lives, their health, and their livelihoods to help uphold the idea of America. Veterans Day gives us a time to come together as Americans as we honor those who have served. We also understand that as a community, our thanks is not enough. 20 veterans a day die by suicide, a statistic that should just not exist. I am fighting in Congress to get our nation's veterans the support and resources they deserve. But the entire community should do the same, especially with regards to mental health. I hope you'll consider hosting or attending a Veterans Day Town Hall, a tradition that we began here in Massachusetts, where veterans share their stories, and connect with non-veterans in their communities. The more we connect as people, the more our community comes together. To our family, friends, and community, thank you for your support. And to my fellow veterans, thank you for your service. Welcome home. Sincerely, Seth Moulton.
Thank you, Ms. Bovia. Now I'd like to share with you a proclamation from Governor Baker's office. On behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I am pleased to confer upon you this Governor's citation in recognition of the dedication of your Merrimac Memorial's Veterans Memorial. Holding our veterans and their service to our country to protect our freedoms is the least that we can do to thank them for their sacrifice. Your beautiful memorial honors all who have served, their families, and their friends. This 11th day of November in the year 2019. Signed, Governor Charles D. Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen E. Polito. Thank you all for attending today's ceremony. Thank you to all who put a part in constructing this beautiful memorial. Can we have a round of applause for that, please? It is a wonderful way to honor those who have served for our country and to remember the sacrifices that they made for this great nation. To close today's ceremony, I'd like to invite Sergeant Clark back up for a performance of Proud to Be an American. Thank you all for coming and have a great rest of your day.
So ladies and gentlemen, I am going to change up the program because, well, frankly, I've done enough singing and I want you to sing with me. And I want you to sing a song that I get to step out at Fenway Park and sing at the 7th inning stretch. Written by the great Irving Berlin, made famous by the great Kate Smith. And you know, when I get out there to sing that song that you all know is God Bless America, I hold the high notes so long that I'm actually starting to pass out. True story. My wife, who's running the board over there, she's actually an opera singer, and she comes and puts me on the field. She says, Dan, I want you to be careful when you go out and sing God Bless America today, because I'm afraid you might hurt yourself. And this is what I tell Mary. I say, Mary, if I should go out onto that grass tonight and I should drop and my heart should stop while I'm singing God Bless America at Fenway Park for the Boston Red Sox during the World Series, no less, I don't want anyone to ever shed a tear for me, because I will have been the happiest of men. From our family to your beautiful community, we wish you the very best of honor, integrity, health, happiness, and certainly for our first responders, safety. Please join in singing with me, God Bless America. Fire it up, Mary. They're going to all sing with me. I won't let them get away with it. That's it.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, a land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. One more time. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet. Take it. Have a great day. Happy Marine Corps birthday and Veterans Day. Outstanding.